Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Electronic Box, the channel for the second look about crappy electronics that nowadays become sophisticated in theory, but in practice it's quite a different story. Every manufacturer teases you with new gimmick functions and extras to convince you that their product is so great, and when you buy it after a day or two, the awful feeling that you are scammed or tricked smash you in the face. Well, that's to live around 2022. The hype is big and the reality is sad. Anyway, instead of complaining and talking bullshit, I will try my best to address some hints to camera manufacturers and to you guys according to photo and video gear in 2022. So, I believe that you all know how the downtrend is looking. Yes, a big downhill slope. That is the situation with digital cameras lately. You may ask why. Well, there are many reasons for that. Some of them are quite obvious, like the smartphones are getting better and better every single day. And combining a few units in one, like a camera plus phone plus a gaming console, for how much? 100, 200 or 400 US dollars. It is convenient for the users. Mentioning the price, we have to say that this is one of the main factors for many of us that for some reason manufacturers never mention, because they will reduce their stupid profits. The digital cameras are not just overpriced, they are ridiculously overpriced, simply because idiots like you and me buy those emotional bricks. If you make money from that gear, you definitely can be excluded from this list, but others like me never got any income from photo or video. Let's take the best example for that, Canon. Right away I'll start by saying that I was a real Canon fanboy, and to some degree I'm still their fan. A few years back I owned Canon 60D, 80D and 5D, so I know the brand and their lenses are simply my first choice for everything, but Canon is notorious with the fact that they super badly squeeze the customers and just remove many options from their lower end cameras. And on top of that, their price is insanely high. See Canon R3 or R5, 5,000 US dollars for a camera. I don't care if you will make a photo session of Barack Obama or some Formula 1 top driver. This price is absurd. Yes, Canon is a quality brand with usability and durability that not many companies can offer. But the pricing is totally wrong, at least for me, and in my small and poor corner of the world. Let's for a second just talk about photo cameras. Guess what? I won't talk about photo cameras simply because every camera after 2015 is good enough for photography. For larger prints, of course, the megapixel count is a factor, but as a whole, the photo part is becoming less and less interesting for many users. That's a fact. Video is the main thing lately, and the manufacturers will need another decade or two to understand it. Let's discuss video cameras then. Again, the same overpriced situation, 5, 10 or 20,000 US dollars or more for a camera that after 1 year will become obsolete. Thanks, but no thanks. Sorry to say that again, but if Blackmagic Design can offer you a nice cinema camera for 1,000 or 2,000 US dollars, other brands are also capable to do that. The problem is that they don't want to. Let's discuss Panasonic. Do I know the brand well? I have to say definitely, because I had so far Panasonic GH4, G7, G85, GH5, GH5S, S1 and Panasonic EVA camera. For me the brand is great with all functions included and always with zero overheating issues. The two weak points for me are 1. The autofocus and 2. The picture quality. While in theory it is great and ranked pretty high, I still need some extra picture detail that I can't reach with Panasonic. EVA 1 actually was the first Panasonic camera that could partially fit that request. Partially because while EVA is a great camera and the picture quality is superb, there are still things that totally bugs me. Terrible monitor. It's like a mirror. Responsiveness is also bad. The touchscreen is among the worst of all cameras that I ever used. And this camera is like 7,000–8,000 US dollars. Again, no proper autofocus and menu that is super strange according to other Panasonic cameras. Nikon, great durability, great products. What they are lacking? Almost nothing, actually. They simply don't have a history and well-established roots in the video department. And to gain some in this area can be done only with two key components. Those are all-in features and innovations for video. And in second place, great pricing. Nikon still lacks in both directions. Their price is high and their features for video are not that mature like those in Sony and Canon cameras. Their new flagship camera Z9 is super innovative and great. They even completely removed the shutter mechanism. And this is great if the camera can reach a few million shutter counts. But again, with the wrong price, let's just mention some things that also have to be addressed. What set of features every camera needs to stand out in 2022? This is to all camera producers, by the way. If your camera cannot shoot 10-bit video, don't produce it. And don't just spend those already missing chips. We all know that the single most important part for video is the dynamic range. And while all sensors are very close one to each other, there are some engineering techniques that can make them perfect. That's DGO, or dual gain output. This gives you from 12 stops sensor around 14 plus stops results by combining the best from highlights and shadows. If your camera in 2022 don't have that, don't produce it. And while we are speaking about dual stuff, dear producers, if your new camera don't have a dual ISO or one ISO that starts at 4000 like Sony FS7, that's right, don't produce it. If the camera doesn't have an SSD or NVMe drive option, don't produce it. If the camera doesn't have a monitor with at least Blackmagic Pocket 4K screen specs and size, don't produce it. Now about the resolution. In reality, nobody needs more than 4K. So all codecs must have the options to be downscaled in camera from 7 or 8K to 4K, 2K and even 720p. Otherwise, you've guessed it, don't produce it. And last but definitely not least, if your new camera don't have a global shutter, don't ever produce this camera because it will have a jello effect like crazy. The platform. If you ask me, every new camera must have to be with a modular design. Good example is Sony Venice. Its sensor can be removed and replaced for just 2 minutes. But the price of this camera is like 3 apartments. For me, this should be the approach for every modern device. I'm talking about the modular design, of course, not the humongous price of Venice. The camera must contain a sensor and bayonet, then the main board as another module, then a monitor module on top, maybe another module for storage, then the extension module at the back for battery and SDI, HDMI and timecode connections. On this module, we can add also LAN connector for PPPoE remote access. For the guys that don't know, this stands for point-to-point protocol over Ethernet. This abbreviation to me sounds a bit like OPP, how can I explain it? I'll take it frame by frame it. But anyway, let's continue. Actually, there is a camera that has almost all of that, and this is Kinefinity Mavo Edge. But I never got chance to test this camera, so I can't say more. The design. Well, we've mentioned Sony. They have done maybe 90% of their products right. There are only 3 things that they have to be corrected. First, the design. In the past I explained that for me their best design camera was RX10. And if they use this outfit for the A series, it will be super nice. The second bad Sony thing is the durability. Their quality is very good, but not outstanding for the premium price. That's right, the higher price tag is the third weak point for the users. What else? Well, another factor that none of the manufacturers care about is the security. Every new camera must have the option to be locked remotely if stolen. This way the users will be more secure and the thieves will be just a bit more cautious, I guess, and selective. Now about the filters. Camcorder ND filters are bad because they fail at some point. The only proper ND filter is the Canon solution. Gorgeous, manual idea. Unfortunately, it is a separate purchase, but still, it is the best implemented option for an ND filter so far. Form factor is another recent hot topic, and there are many opinions and many of them have their strong points. Proper form factor for me is between Canon C200 and the Red Komodo. Cube or extended cube It's like a new fashion recently, and I also like it a lot. To wrap up this, let's call it general camera direction video, my take on that is that every new camera must have the following key components: a cube form factor, 10-bit in all codecs, downscaling for maximum resolution for all formats, manual ND filter, small HD monitor quality, Sony autofocus system, and last but definitely not least, Blackmagic design menu structure and price. A Canon durability and color science, dual gain output and dual native ISO, and SSD or NVMe storage. Let's for a moment think a bit deeply and just imagine if Blackmagic design implemented a box-shaped form factor, an advanced autofocus system and tracking option. Who will buy any other camera for video? Tell me. Yes, they also got almost everything right, and I admire them warmly. But please see my other videos. In some of them I also criticize them for some of their products, but what is true is true. They know the proper formula for less money, and other brands will have to follow this trend if they want to succeed and have the competition running. I hope this video was interesting to you and at least entertaining. We'll be glad if some producers take some notes, and if they watch or if they need a proper and constructive criticism, they are invited to send me a product sample for a review and test purposes. By the way, my team and I can offer you quality Bulgarian voiceovers and dubbing for your video project, commercials or audio presentations. To hear our voiceover catalog, head over to www.bulgariansound.com. From me, Nico, be creative and keep the good mood. Peace.